Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me. As always, you can help our channel grow by liking, subscribing, hitting the bell for notifications, but most importantly, please share the content. Donations can be made at paypal.me/MorlocMorningDigest. You'll find a link in the description below. I want to get right into this coronavirus update because we have some very interesting developments over the weekend. Now, I made a prediction in one of my videos last week that we were going to see this thing reach pandemic levels within the next 14 days, and I hate to say it, but I was right once again. We're seeing this thing spread exponentially in several different places, the most concerning of which, in my opinion, is Iran. Now, I want to start there. Last Wednesday, Iran reported the fact that they had 2 confirmed cases, and on the same day, they announced that those 2 people had died. One of those people was an immigrant worker from China working in a holy city known as Qom. Now, he ended up coming back, he was sick, and then he was reported dead on Wednesday. Another one was a local businessman who came back from China, reported himself sick. He was reported dead on Wednesday. We have very little information about how long they were out in society before reporting sick. Now, the numbers that Iran is giving us is complete bullshit because this thing, by all of the information we have, and I'm not saying it's accurate, I'm just saying we have it, tells us that this thing kills at a 2.5% rate, which means there would have had to have been at least 250 people that were sick with the virus in that area. Now, the Iranian government is coming out and not giving very much information at all. They keep telling their people that this thing is contained, there's nothing to worry about. However, they just got done having nationwide elections, okay? This is exactly why, if they knew something was going on, they wouldn't have said that it was, because the political process in Iran right now is under a lot of tension. So what I'm thinking happened is they knew about this thing long before these 2 people were reported sick and reported dead. But they didn't want to interfere with their election cycle, so they just kept their mouths shut and hoped for the best because they wouldn't have been able to contain it anyway with their medical system, and they know it. However, we have an MP who's deciding to come out and try to save his own ass and not be the scapegoat here. And he's saying that the amount of deaths and the amount of cases inside of that holy city, which he is in charge of, is being vastly underreported by the Iranian government. And this broke on Al Jazeera not too long ago. So, what does that mean? That means that there is more than likely thousands of cases in Iran. There's no way for them to test for it. And if their government is deciding to shut down religious ceremonies, cancel all theater and soccer events, there is something serious going on there, and they are underplaying it. Now, if you look at what's going on in South Korea, we are starting to see that the numbers China were giving us are not accurate if what the numbers South Korea are giving us are, which I'd have to say more than likely they're more accurate than the numbers coming out of China, to say the least, in my opinion. I don't think that we're ever going to get fully accurate numbers just by the way that this thing is moving, at the speed that this is moving, and at the rate in which we can test it. Now, the way that this thing started in South Korea was through a group of religious people who all had a gathering, and there was one preacher who ended up having the virus. He was symptomatic. However, he kept preaching, and instead of getting himself looked at, and there was a lot of close contact. There was ceremonial kissing from person face to face, etc., etc. Now, there was a group of at least 900 people there, and within this group, at least 300 of which are known to have now contracted the virus, and that number is only going to rise. We have almost 1,000 people nationwide inside of South Korea with this virus. They've started shutting down schools or delaying schools from starting until March, I believe, is what's actually happening. And this is going on all over the country right now. We're starting to see runs on grocery stores. We're starting to see runs on supplies, exactly how I said it was going to happen. South Korea, as proactive as they are being and as good as their medical system is going to run into the problem of them becoming overwhelmed, which is exactly when you're going to start seeing things get out of hand there, right? We have to keep an eye on that. I think that's going to be the most interesting development outside of Iran. We also have cases in Italy as well right now, and I'm not 100% sure on the facts and figures for Italy. I haven't really looked into it too much at all. However, what I found interesting there is they do have an entire region of about 1 million people on lockdown at the moment, which is very much the response that we saw take place in China. And I don't think that it was done quick enough, and in my opinion, you're not going to be able to contain this from what we've seen. It's just fruitless. I do want to say, however, I will implore the South Koreans to keep giving us the amount of information they have been, because the transparency that I've seen from them is a breath of fresh air, right? I want to say something to everybody that watches these videos in general. We're definitely over the target. We're starting to attract a lot of trolls, right? I don't want anybody to believe a goddamn word that I say on here. Go do your own research, because I've been seeing a lot of comments that are accusing me of being a sensationalist, right? Specifically, somebody said yesterday, just another whack story about Bill Gates, etc., etc. And if you believe it, it's a conspiracy, but it's a good one. Thanks for the entertainment. It lets me know I'm over the target, but I'm not going to put my ass out here and say that this virus has a patent number unless I've dug deep enough to see that that is the case. Now, with Event 201, the simulation that they did in November, you can't turn a blind eye to that either, because with what we're seeing with this thing move into Iran, as well as Italy and South Korea, it matches up not only with Event 201 down to a key, right? Which proves they could have gotten out ahead of this thing before they actually, succumbed to it so easily. They could have gotten out ahead of it if they wanted to, right? But it also matches up the historical spread of the Black Death back in the Dark Ages. And these are patterns that me as a layman, right, are seeing with my own two eyes, okay? When I'm sitting here and telling you that this thing is biologically engineered, that's because I went and I looked at the genomic breakdown of this, and I looked at the RNA sequence, and even with a layman eye like myself, I can see that the way this thing is put together is too damn perfect to have been developed by nature, right? These are all my opinion based on research. So don't come at me with an argument criticizing my research when you haven't done any yourself. This isn't directed at my mainstream audience that listens to me every day, right? I know that you guys know where I'm coming from and where I'm getting my information and how I'm doing things. This is for all the asshats out there accusing me of jumping on some bandwagon to get followers. No, I'm out here trying to help people get ahead of this. Best thing you can do right now is prepare for the long haul and keep yourself ready to quarantine yourself if you have to. I don't find it any coincidence, right, that QAnonymous warned us to be able to sustain 3 weeks to a couple months worth of economic downturn having food and supplies ready, and then all of a sudden this coronavirus bullshit breaks out, right? There is no such thing as coincidences. We've been told by several different sources from several different angles to prepare. So if you haven't prepared, you're setting yourself up to be played, right? They have to tell you it's coming. They've told us, right? Prepare yourself, my friends. It's coming. God bless. Take care of yourself and your families. At the end of the day, it's all you have, right? I'll talk to you guys soon.